Shalawama, I'm Dr. Yasafa from Zion Law School. Today I'm going to talk about flying monkeys. Okay, this is another topic. I'm going to move over because I want to see my my book title, Biblical Phoenician Hebrew, Deuteronomy, chapter 28. So this is a series of books. I finished two volumes. There's a few more volumes. Right now I'm working on the curses and I'm teaching the curses classes. So anyway, this is the background that I want to have. So let me kind of move out of the way so I can show the background, okay, which is the book cover. So anyway, I'm Dr. Yasafa from Zion Law School, and I'm going to talk about narcissists and their flying monkeys. So to begin with, what is a narcissist? Well, no, what is it? The topic is what is a flying monkey, right? The topic is flying monkeys. That's what I'm going to focus on, not the narcissists, the flying monkeys. So flying monkeys are people who are used by a narcissist to harm you, right? These are people who generally your family members, your co-workers, your friends, people who you trust. And then there'll be people who you don't even know. They don't know you from Adam, right? But the narcissist recruits them by telling them things that are about you that are either true, that should never be told to anybody, or things that are just straight out hurtful, harmful, vindictive lies about you. Okay, so the term flying monkeys comes from that show, The Wizard of Oz. Actually, that's where that term comes from. Because remember the Wicked Witch? Remember from Wizard of Oz how wicked she was? She wanted to hurt Dorothy, right? So she had these monkeys. And when I was a little boy, those monkeys used to scare the mess out of me, right? Remember the monkeys in the Wizard of Oz? And they would go out and do the Wicked Witch's evil deeds for her. Remember how they used to scare the mess out of Dorothy and everybody else? And the flying monkey. Well, that's where the term comes from. Right, you don't know where these people are coming from. Just like with the monkeys, just like with the monkeys on the Wizard of Oz, they're just gonna show up out of nowhere. You don't know where they're coming from, and it's gonna be a gang of them, and they're gonna be after you, right? So that's where that term "flying monkeys" come from. But it's really not funny. It's funny once you get past it and you recover from something like this. You can look back and you can laugh at it, hopefully. Right? But it hurts at the time because it's people who you trust. This is the worst part. Let's say a brother, sister, other family members who, let's say, by the way, this is not medical advice. I'm just talking about my own life's experience. So in my case, I had a family member, a few family members who were narcissists. And if you become if you're the person who makes that narcissist feel threatened, and what I mean by feeling threatened is they feel like you're getting attention that's rightfully theirs, or you're more happy, you're more whatever than they are, right? Then that narcissist, when they feel threatened by you, because they're so insecure that they constantly need people to validate them. They have to be the center of attention, and they will do anything to anybody who threatens their position as being the center of attention. So if you become that person to them, they will seek to destroy you. It could be your own mother or your own father. So, and it just is, right? And there's really nothing you can do once you become the target of a narcissist, okay, there's nothing you can do but run unless you want constant chaos and a constant battle, constant conflict, constant chaos, constant blaming you, and eventually it could get to the point where that person either tries to kill you or they put somebody else up to kill you, or they try, I've had this happen to me too. They'll try to have you put in jail to destroy you, right? They'll try to have you put in jail to destroy you. And for them, it's all about the victory. It's all about the win. So for example, let's say you have a divorce. You're going through a divorce, right? And your mate is a narcissist. Don't think for a minute that that person will not say anything to try to win, even at the expense of having you put in prison. Okay, and that's just how cold and cruel and vindictive a narcissist is. They just want to win, and everybody around them, they consider just a pawn or a piece on the table for them to move around and manipulate to get what they want, right? Which is the first thing they want is to have this amazing reputation, right? That they're such a good person, they're such a nice person, they're the most giving person, the most loving, they're, all of the praises and accolades. This is the public image that they want. But in the family, they're a tyrant, a beast, cold and cruel, right? And they'll even try to recruit you. They'll try to recruit you into pushing that false narrative about them. And if you don't, they will do some serious harm to you. But anyway, let's go back to flying monkeys, okay? So your brother, your sister, your coworker can be used by, let's say, if it's your father who's the narcissist, or your mother. They'll recruit all of your siblings, tell them all kinds of lies about you, or tell them things that you said, or that they know how you feel about something that nobody else should know. They'll go back and tell it, right? Or they'll use it to control you or to scare you. For example, they might go back and say, well, I'm going to tell so-and-so about what you said, right? Or I'm going to say, but just use that to control you and force you to do things that you may not want to do, or just to terrorize you, right? To take your peace away, because some things, you might confide in a brother, sister, mother, father about things that you don't want other people to know, and then they'll take that and use it against you. Now, initially, that will hurt. And for those of you who experienced this, maybe with a husband or a wife, who you've shared your feelings or your thoughts about something, about a family member or a very good friend of yours, and then that mate goes back or threatens you that they're going to tell, or they actually go back and tell it, right? And that could be the end of that relationship with a close friend you had for life, or with your relatives. All of a sudden, they don't respect you anymore, right? Or they think the worst of you, and they begin to treat you that way, and you won't know what's happening, right? But that's because the narcissist went out and sweet talk your relatives, or sweet talk your wife, sweet talk your girlfriend, get them to trust them, right? And then they start dropping information on you that could be, like I said, either true or just straight out the most horrible lies, just outright horrible lies. It's all meant to destroy you, but they're not. The narcissists won't do it themselves. What they're gonna do is make that person. Okay, let's say it's your best friend. Now let's say it's your wife. Okay, they're gonna spew this poison, these lies, to your wife, and then eventually your wife is going to begin to lose respect for you, right? And then she's going to begin to treat you like she doesn't respect you. Okay, and the narcissist knows that that's what's going to happen, right? So the narcissist is trying to destroy your relationship with your wife or with your husband behind your back without you knowing. See, and most of the time, if a person really loves you or even just values your friendship, most of the time, they'll come back and they'll tell you, hey, you know what? so-and-so said this about you. And I just want to ask you, is that true? I thought it was a horrible thing to say about you. So I'm coming back to ask you, because if it's not true, you need to know what this person is saying about you. And if it is true, can you explain it to me? Because, I'm not sure if I want to associate with a person who did X, Y, Z, right? But a person, if you have a good relationship with you, they love you, or you have a good friendship with them, or they're just a decent person, they'll approach you with it, right? They'll approach you. Unfortunately, or maybe even fortunately, right? Depends on how we look at it. Those people who don't care about you, or those people who secretly envy you or are jealous of you for whatever reason, maybe they hate you because you're tall, whatever. Some people, they just don't like you on the inside, but they never show it. So those people who might have something against you, once they get recruited into becoming a flying monkey, they'll enjoy teaming up against you to bring you down, right? And they're not going to say anything to you about it. They'll eat lunch with you, they eat breakfast with you, go places with you, right? Everything that you discuss with them, they'll take it back to the other flying monkeys, right? Especially in the workplace, okay? And then they'll work together to either get you fired or to try to make your life so miserable that you start looking for another job, or you get high blood pressure, or you get some other type of health problem, right? Because all of these people at your job are working against you, okay? And you don't know where it's coming from, but you're able to feel it, okay? So that's what a flying monkey is. These people whose mind get poisoned by a narcissist. And if your boss is a narcissist, or one of your coworkers is a narcissist, and these people are very charming, likable people superficially. Everything about a narcissist is superficial. It's only at the surface level. Inside, there's nothing. They're empty. This is why they feel so insecure. They feel completely empty. That's the source of the insecurity. That's why they need validation so much, right? But these people will put on that front and put on that air to woo people, sweet talk them, right? And then say such nasty things, and then they all start working against you, and you don't know what happened. This is why they call it flying monkeys, because in the Wizard of Oz, all of a sudden these monkeys come out of nowhere, right? And it's terrifying. You don't know what's happening. There's so many of them, right? And you don't know what to do a lot of times, okay? But now you know about flying monkeys. So look in your life and try to identify people who may be a narcissist, whom you became their target, right? And don't think about why you became the target, because you'll never be able to figure this out, because a narcissist is scatterbrained, right? They're insecure, and who knows what it is about you. It could be because when you wear the color red, they think red looks better on you than it looks on them. It could be, just ridiculous things, right? Because it's all about their insecurity and their need to be the center of attention, okay? And so that's a completely emotional thing. So if it's emotional, it means it's not rational, and it's not worth trying to figure it out, because you'll never be able to figure it out, right? So it's not worth the time. But anyway, so what happens once you, I lost my train of thought, so I just pick up somewhere else. What happens once you realize that, let's say right now, if you can identify a narcissist and you can identify people who are flying monkeys, how do you deal with that, right? Let's say the easiest would probably be at home, because at work you have to, it's a different thing, but at home, let's say you have a family member either in your house or out of your house. How are you going to deal with that flying monkey, right? So are you going to try to repair the relationship with the flying monkey, right? Are you going to say, hey, I'm not this terrible person that they've been, that so and so. Let's say it's your, let's make it personal. Let's say it's your wife. You're gonna say, I'm not this terrible person that my wife have been saying I am. She's a narcissist and she's this and she did that. And are you gonna do that? But that's probably not gonna get you anywhere, but make you look even worse in the eyes of the person whom you're trying to defend yourself with, right? So sometimes it's better. This is what I did. I didn't try to defend myself. Like when I found out these people were narcissists, I didn't try to defend myself. I just let it go. I didn't say anything. Okay. And the flying monkeys, I did not try to redeem my relationship with them. Okay. This is at work. Even with family members, I didn't try to redeem those relations. And to this day, I don't want the relationships. But relationships at work, I just walked away, right? I did my job, and I did it the best that I could. And ironically enough, because of the terrible situation that they put me in, right? For example, I had to do more work, see more patients, right? It's just real dirty stuff. People wouldn't, they would take patient labs out of the chart, so I wouldn't know the full story with the patient, who may have had some infectious chronic disease. But these flying monkeys can be vicious, right? And then it becomes fun for them, right? Because they talk about all the nasty things that they did to you, and they laugh and joke about it, and it gives them something to have fun about, right? Brings them closer together because you're the target, and they laugh and joke about what they did to you, right? So, but anyway, the way I handled that, I just stepped up and acknowledged, okay, well, I don't have the support of the people here, so I'm just going to have to do more, right? I got to do more with less. So I would go to the lab myself. If I saw a toxic patient, I would just go to the lab. And I would say, hey, let me see the labs for this patient in room so and so and so and so, and I would get it and check it on my own. But anyway, I became more, more strong, right? And more strategic in my thinking, because now I knew I couldn't rely on anybody, and I had to do everything myself. And then once you get past that emotionally, you have to do everything yourself. And once you get the physical energy, right, because who wants to go to a lab every time you get a toxic looking patient? You got to go all the way across and get the lab. I mean, that takes energy and that takes time, right? And sometimes you just don't feel like it, but when you're in this kind of situation, you have to, right? So I was able to develop the mindset of doing these extra things and not letting it get me down, but finding a way to enjoy it. And it made me more resourceful, more resilient, right? I'm a more resilient and more resourceful person. I have a stronger mind because of it, because of these flying monkeys and the narcissists. I turn out to be a more powerful, resilient person as a result of these things, okay? But it takes energy, acceptance, right? You just gotta accept this is what it is. And some relationships, you just have to let them go, accept it for what it is and move on and make the best out of it, right? So instead of falling, instead of letting that situation knock you down, or if it did knock you down, there ain't nothing wrong with getting knocked down. The problem is if you stay down, right? If it knocked you down, get back up, right? Get back up with the resolve that you're going to be successful and you're going to learn and overcome this, right? And you're going to be a better, stronger person as a result of it. You're going to increase your skill set because of it, because it's all about your mentality, right? So a flying monkey, when you encounter these people, and actually once you have this information, it's kind of easy to identify these people, because these are people who you once had a good relationship, most of the time, people you once had a good relationship with, right? And then they turn their back on you. Their attitude changes about you. Or every time you have an interaction with them, you meet with them, every time, something bad comes out of it, right? That's another way you can identify a narcissist or a person who hates you, but they smile in your face. All you have to do is remember this. Keep track. Does every time I do something with this person, or every time that they are aware of what I'm doing, does that turn south? Does that go bad every time? Or is every time I have some type of interaction with them, or they know something about what I'm doing, does it become harder on me, right? Or does it fail? Or has this person consistently done or said something to make me feel bad, or push my friends away, push my support away? See, if you can look at a person, and if you see that there's a pattern of that person is either a narcissist and you're their target, or they hate you, but they're smiling in your face, right? So it's not about what they say, right? It's not about what they say to you, but it's the effects. It's the effects that they bring in your life. So you got to be conscious of this, right? You have to be conscious of the effect that people have in your life. If it's a person who every time you deal with them, it's something good happening, or you're able to achieve some goal, things go okay, well, then that person is okay, but just keep track and even look back in your life. Okay, well, now let's see. Who was I associated with? Pick a person, especially people close to you, close family members and friends, and just go back as far as you can remember and try to remember if things usually went bad, or if they went good, or if they always go bad, or if they always go good. Look for the pattern with these people. That's going to uncover your narcissist or the person who hates you. So why is this the case? And I'm going to wrap this up. I don't want the video to be too long. Why is this the case? Because when you look at the social, let's say the judicial system, the family courts, the criminal law courts, look at what they've done, the damage they've done to our families. They've broken up families, right? Look at take the father out of the house, okay? Turn the mother against the father of the child, okay? So this creates trauma and conflict in the mind of the children. It also creates competition between the man and the woman, okay? Think about the music. Look back at the music in the 60s, even in the 70s. It was all about love, right? Love and romance. People had class. But look at what happened since rap music came into place and the Khazars took over the record companies. Look at what happened to the music now, okay? Homosexuality, lesbianism, gangsterism, don't care about people, all types of, antisocial stuff that was not prominent in our communities prior to the Khazars taking over the music industry in our community. Y'all see that? Now, if you go back into the history of Germany rather, when the Khazars became prominent or powerful rather in Germany, they began to do the same type of things to the German people, introducing homosexuality and all kind of antisocial behavior that the German people found offensive. But they put it child pornography, even like today, right? They did this in Germany. They have a history of introducing these types of antisocial, destructive behaviors and attitudes into countries where they began to gain power. So you look at these forces coming in on richly melanated people or indigenous Americans in, let's say, since the 70s and 80s, okay? All of the abandonment, all of the fathers who were put in prison, the drugs, right? The crackheads, the strawberries, like we used to say when I was younger, the female strawberries. So all of these kids who grew up in a traumatic, with trauma in the family, or even there's not even a family, right? There's no more big mama, okay? There's nothing. So why is that important? What does it have to do with this? Because this is the type of dynamics that produce a narcissist or a borderline personality disorder patient, right? And it's my opinion that they did this because they used psychological research. Okay, they use psychological research, and then they use that to inflict genocide in our community. So now we have an epidemic of narcissism and borderline personality disorder and bipolar disorder and other types of personality problems and personality disorders. And my opinion, like I said, is by design. It is to destroy. Remember, genocide is not necessarily killing. Genocide is the destruction of the family unit. So by definition, when you start talking about putting the woman in front of the man, breaking families up, taking children out of the home, okay, putting them in what is it called? Putting them in foster home and child and family service, you know, all of this is genocide, right? But our people are so far gone. They're so far gone that they don't even realize that they are literally cattle in the eyes of the people who are doing this to them. They're cattle, and they're being used to make money off of exploitation, to make money off of. But that's a whole other story. So this is where this is how the narcissist is produced, okay? That's how the narcissist is produced. And then the narcissist will go and then do what? Inflict even more damage on our community or on our nation, on our people. Well, let's just say the indigenous people, the richly melanated people. So this is all by design, in my opinion, okay? And this is not medical advice. I'm just giving y'all my opinion and my estimations, observations and impressions, or whatever you want to say, right, about what's going on. So when you encounter these people who love the drama, right, and then they go out and they do cruel things. You see a lot of this stuff with people on YouTube too. You see a lot of this stuff with people on YouTube going out making videos about people they don't even know, right? They don't even know, but they go out and make these videos on people to try to destroy them, or what they like to say, debunk, right? But this is antisocial behavior. So don't let yourself be a monkey. Don't let a narcissist make a monkey out of you. Next time a narcissist or somebody comes to you with gossip, sweet talking you, right? And then start dropping poisonous venom gossip in your ear about somebody else, don't let them use you. Don't let them make you into a flying monkey. So anyway, next time I'll do another video about something else. But there's a lot of talk about, right, with this topic about flying monkeys, because once you get past things that really, really hurt, you can laugh about them, you know. And I mean, I can go on and on for days with stories that flying monkeys have done, because people love to hurt other people, talk trash about other people, cut other people. Oh, that's it. There's another term. Is it called cancel culture? Like where people stop dealing with you, they don't even know you. They just, you know, cut you off regardless of they don't think about how it feels for you, how it's going to affect your family, right? Don't be a flying monkey, okay? Don't listen to people gossip about somebody, okay? And then you act on it, and then you spread that gossip, and then you start doing things to harm people. And by the way, these people who've been used as flying monkeys, they have been known to cause physical harm to people, because they may want to protect the narcissist. or they may be so into it, into hurting this person, right? And it feels so good to them, okay, because it's giving them some type of relief from whatever issues that they're dealing with or that they don't want to deal with about themselves. Well, they will actually do physical harm to you, okay? Or they'll file a lawsuit against you or file a police report against you, anything to keep it going, to destroy you. But here's a funny thing. Okay, so now once the narcissist is done with you, okay, guess what else? That narcissist is also going to be done with those flying monkeys. Because for a narcissist, remember, people are not people. A narcissist does not care about anybody. All of them were just pawns on the table, pawns on the game board, right? So when they're done with you, they're also eventually going to be done with them. They'll also eventually be done with them. And at some point, that flying monkey, or some of them, might wake up and realize how they were used and try to come back in your life and sweet talk you, try to make up with you. But in my case, I've experienced that. But I don't welcome you back, right? I'm not going to be nasty to you, right? But you're not coming back in my life. That's it, right? When I was in my teens and my 20s and before I realized what the deal is, what the game is, I would forgive, okay? But at this point in my life, no. And for what it's worth, y'all, and I said this before, the worst things that have happened in my life was because I forgave people. I forgave people, forgiving. And that led to them doing worse to me, okay? They saw me as an easy target, or for whatever reason, okay? I wound up being worse off. So for me, common sense is that when people harm me, they do these kind of nasty things, I'm done. Whether or not that's something you should do, you know, you have to think about it, right? Are you strong enough to do it? Are you strong enough to walk away? Think about it. Don't be somebody's flying monkey. Thanks for listening in. I'm Dr. Yasapa. Every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I teach the curses course, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 29. Okay, this is going to be like a 4 or 5 part course because the curses go from Deuteronomy 28, 15 through I think 68. So I'm breaking it up. But you're welcome to come. You can come observe 4 free classes, right? That comes out to be about a month. It's a lot of hours, and you're going to learn a lot. You don't have to buy anything. I'll have the book ready, volume 3, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 29. I'll have that ready. Hopefully within a week or 2, I have that book ready. So if you want to buy the book, that would be great. I would appreciate that if you support Zion Law School, if you support Dr. Yasapa and my work. If you want to give a donation to help me produce these books, to help me write them, publish them, edit them so that I could have less things to worry about, right? The donations do help me. So if you want to donate and support me, support Zion Law School, feel free to do so. So I want to personally invite you to the curses course, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 28, 15 through 29. You're going to learn about every word. Okay, so let's say every verse has words, right? I'm going to teach you how each word, the morphology of each word, how each word is constructed. So that would be its root, its prefix, infix, suffix, right? Part of speech, all of that stuff. I'm going to teach you that. I'm going to teach you how to pronounce the words, how to speak it. You'll learn how to read from English to Abrayata, okay? the Hebrew. You learn how to read and transition, how each pictograph is pronounced. And then I'm gonna teach you the etymology. I'm gonna teach you how to do all the analysis. All of it you're gonna get for free. And I'm gonna teach you stuff that's not not in the book, but we go deeper, right? And these things are a lot of fun. And then you have to present, you'll ask questions, people will ask you questions, and you'll be fully involved in the course. And it's a lot of fun. And sometimes it's difficult, and sometimes you might be uncomfortable because I'll ask you a question, or one of your co-scholars might ask you a question, right? But we won't leave you behind. We'll take the time out to teach you, to get you up to speed, right? And sometimes that might even be uncomfortable, okay? Because what you're gonna learn oftentimes is different than what you've been taught in a church or in a Hebrew Israelite organization, okay? So a lot of times it's different because we're dealing with the etymology. You're gonna learn all about etymology and stuff like that, and you're gonna be put in an awkward position quite often, right? But this is what being a scholar is all about, right? So for example, when I when I was studying, this is when I was doing my MBA. I tell you the experience I had. So I was one of just a few richly melanated people, indigenous Americans in the school where I did my MBA. And this is in the States, okay, in the US. And so one of the things that the troglodytes, when I say troglodytes, I'm referring to the hybrid European, those people who classify themselves as white, okay? So one of the things that the troglodytes used to do, they would change, we'd have group projects, right? We work together as a group. And they would change the dates and times of meetings, and they wouldn't tell me, right? Because I'm the nigga and nobody remembers, right? So they just conveniently forget about you. And they would meet without me, right? And then I would only find this out after the fact. But the professor, I think 15% or 20% of your grade had to do with group participation. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, well, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get me on the 20% because they want to make me do worse, right? So then they do better by making me do worse. And so I went to see the professor, right? And he was a guy from India. And I never forget this guy. He had a son who had a serious handicap. But anyway, so I went to his office and I told him, hey, this is what's going on. And I had a conversation with these people, but they keep scheduling and not informing me. And I want to let you know up front so that I don't get hit with the group participation aspect of the grade, right? Because they're gonna say, oh, he didn't do anything, right? And then that way it boosts them, but it hurts me. So anyway, I told the guy, and I'll never forget this. So the guy says, well, what are you gonna do about it? I said, well, I am doing about it. That's why I came to talk to you, right? So that you can either have a discussion with them because I've tried to do that and they're not listening to me, right? Or you can remember that when it's time for the grade to come in. So the guy says, well, no, that's not gonna happen. So you need to make a decision right now to stay or drop the course. Right, and this guy, he was a guy from India, and he wasn't a dark Indian. He was a little bit lighter than me. And I thought about it. I said, wow, that's not right. That was my first thought. And then I remember, like when I was in undergraduate school, I had professors who were from that part of the world, right? That phenotype, not necessarily from India, but I think Bangladesh and places like that. Long time ago, they were the same people, same countries. So I said, I know it's not a racial thing, right? And so I thought about it and I thought about it. I'm like, wow, that's kind of cruel. And then I said, well, you know what? I don't agree with what you're saying to me. And then this is what he said to me. He said, when I did my PhD, he says, I was a hot shot, right? He went to like one of the Ivy League schools. He says, I was a hot shot, but then I went to work at a big bank and I completely failed. That's why I'm in academia. He said, I couldn't handle it, right? This is what he said. He said he was very good at doing structured questions, right? In other words, they give you all the data and then you just work it out. But he said when he got into practice where the questions were not structured, you had to figure out what data you need. He said he was weak in that area and he failed, right? And so then he said that he experienced the same thing I'm experiencing with the troglodytes, okay? So he says, well, when you get out and you know, you start working for these corporations, they're gonna do the same thing to you. So you could either figure out how to deal with it now or drop the class. And so I said, okay, right, no problem. So I went home, I gave it some thought and I thought about it. And that really completely changed me forever, right? That changed me in a good way forever. Because I said, you know what? I'm not going to let these people stop me or have a negative impact on me. So this is what I did. Instead of waiting for the group to set a schedule and we do everything like that, what I began to do, I would look at the homework assignment or whatever the project was. I would do the initial work and then I would email them my initial work. And most people, they don't want to do work that they don't have to do. So based upon my initial work, they would work off of that. And then that allowed me to control the schedule. So I was able to lead our projects by being first, right? So, and after a while, I got used to it. So, and a lot of what I did made their work less work. But even though it was a burden on me, eventually, just like with lifting weights, right? You lift smaller weights, and the more smaller weights, you're able to lift more weight. And then the more weight doesn't feel like more weight eventually, right? And so you're able to handle more. So that's where I got that from. And I've been doing that ever since, and it's been to my advantage, okay? But anyway, don't be somebody's flying monkey. Don't let nobody make a monkey out of you. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. So I hope to see you Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to put the link in the description. Shalawama Yasharala.